let's just sew whatever. Do you ever look at something and you're like, did I really make that? Did I really make this? It was pretty good. It's pretty good. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making the 3-in-1 bubble bag from Mariam. I love it so much. I've seen a million photos of this bag on the internet and I'm like, I want to make it. But I didn't have time, and then today I said, fuck it. And I made time, and I love it. I don't remember where I purchased this vinyl from, but the purple that I used is from my website, as well as all the other materials. I do have a cutting video for this, so you could check that out. I really changed up the back panel here, and I must say I love it. So I've got a slip pocket and then an extra sneaky slip pocket. And then I added a little key tab here that can tuck in or come out, so I can either clip my wallet to it or something else. But we've got a D-ring there and then a snap hook here. I think it's so fun. So, do you want to make it with me? Let's go. Come on. Let's go. I wanted to show, like, the main reason for this clip was for the purse pals, so it can just, like, kind of tuck back in there. And, like, I'll have easy access to it. And I know nobody trying to take it. So cute. I'm super excited to be sewing this up. I'm gonna start with the back section of this bag since I'm going to be changing a lot. So I had the idea to do, it's kind of like the pocket on the Mr. Heckles and also a slip pocket. So I'm gonna call it an extra sneaky slip pocket. And what I have is I have 2 additional pieces of lining fabric that are going to be my extra, and then this is my slip pocket. So I've marked out on both of these pieces where to start and stop sewing, essentially. And I'm gonna go ahead and say it's like 2 1/4 in. Just about 2 inches in. 2 1/4 on one side. So I'm gonna do just straight up 2 inches from either side. Okay. So then I'm gonna put these right sides together and 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'm gonna sew up until that line, back stitch, lift up, and then I'm gonna jump over. Okay. And keep going. All right. So this is what we're looking at. Stitched here, not stitched here, stitched here. I'm gonna open this and press this flat. And then I'm gonna take my lining and put this right sides together and pick one side. You're gonna have 2 pieces of lining, so whichever one you wanna do. All right. So I've got that lined up. We're gonna do 1/4 of an inch seam allowance to attach the lining and move the other fabric out of the way. So, like, I'm putting waterproof canvas to waterproof canvas, so I'm folding the vinyl out of the way, 1/4 inch seam allowance with right sides together. So when I open this, I can press that down and you'll still see this seam, and we'll just lay this lining right sides together. And now I'm lining this up with the vinyl side of my slip pocket. All right. All right, all right, all right. So here's the concept. This is now a slip pocket, and this is going to become a big slip pocket. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna press this open. I'm gonna use my seam roller because I want this edge to still be top stitched, just so it looks nicer. We're gonna top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. I'm not going to top stitch the lining side, I don't think. Just my exterior. Pressing all of that together. 1/8 of an inch, so technically, I don't think we're gonna be catching the lining fabric. Oh yeah, well, I'm gonna top stitch the lining side too. So make sure you keep these flat and open, and you'll see we're just barely catching that stitching. And I am gonna do the lining. This is just gonna help compress the layers and help it sit better. Okay. And then we're gonna fold the exterior slip pocket out of the way. Keep these together. And we're gonna get as close to the top edge as we can, but you might have a tiny little gap. It's not enough for anything to like fall through. And I cut this piece way bigger than I actually need it. I don't want it to be so huge. I was thinking maybe it could hold my phone. Okay, so I'll go a little longer. Thinking like a phone, or like let's say we're staying at a hotel and I just want to pop the hotel key in there. And then get close to your exterior fabric, but not too close. I'll trim that excess. So I cut this to 6.5 by 6.5. That's funny. And then we'll be able to put all these layers together. And you got a little sneaky slip pocket and the big slip pocket. That's gonna go on our bag. Continuing on to parts of the bag that are not part of the bag. Dang it, it would be 1/2 inch. I grabbed 3/4. So I'm gonna add a little keychain holder thing to that seam as well. And so I've just taken a 1 inch by I don't know how long piece of vinyl. I'm folding the edges to the center. I think I'm gonna add a D-ring, a 1/2 inch D-ring and a 1/2 inch snap hook to this, just so there's options. And then I'm gonna stitch down either side. Yeah, you could either have it in half, or you could like wrap it around to have your thing hanging, but it's gonna go in that top seam. I'm just gonna grab my hardware. Okay. So sliding all that on there. Might decide, yeah, I'll do it like that. So I'm gonna do a line down the center. And I just do a little back stitch, and then I'm going to do a rivet under here. So you can see we've got a line down the center, my D-ring, and then I'll add a rivet right there. A cute little keychain. Rivet has been added. See, just right there. And then this, I'm just going to place, I don't know why I would rather it be on the left side of the bag. Just do. And then this, I'm just gonna do a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And then I'm gonna fold this up and top stitch through the vinyl. And then if you wanted to, you could add a rivet through all of that, but I would not trim this off. It'll be nice to have that little extra. So now that this is done, we could fold in half and snip the top center. And then we'll line that up with this. And just trim to make sure it's the right size. Before we add the slip pocket. So you've got like a little gap, but not a huge gap. I think it kind of breaks it up in a cute, fun way. And so this can hide that inside the bag like that. I think it looks really cute. And like there's maybe 1 inch to 3/4 of an inch of a gap. So like I said, if you want to adjust for next time you make it, you can alter your pattern piece. So there's that. So we've got this big open slip pocket, this little sneaky one I can plop my phone into if I needed. And then I'll still know it's there. And then I even have a little place to clip something important too and have easy access to it. I love it. So I'm going to trim all this nice and flush. And then we can start working on the pattern as is instructed. We are getting started on the front panel, starting with my front slip pocket. Ben, go to your spot. Go in. We're going to sew that together at a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. We're going to top stitch that, and then we'll add a magnetic snap to the back side. I think I'm going to add my nameplate to the front slip pocket as well. So I'm going to grab that really quick so I don't forget. This vinyl is just so freaking cute, man. I think I purchased it at So Magical Expo from a vendor. I don't know if it was My Little Shindig or maybe Zorel had it. Okay. I'm not a huge fan of this vinyl type. It's got the fuzzy back, but it does have a nice smooth surface. It was cute. Okay, 4 inches up is where I'm adding mine. Get that centered. And then the pattern calls for a 14mm magnetic snap. I unfortunately don't have one at home. So I'm going to use an 18mm. So I'm going to grab that super quick. We'll need the male and female portion, or as I like to say, the innie and the outie. And this is going to be centered an inch down. Oh yeah, on the front. Grab my washers. So this is going to be the innie portion. And then we're going to set this down. Oh dear. Supposed to just be 1/2 inch from the top. Yeah, it'll work. So this gets placed on that front lining, and we're going to baste around all edges. Then you are truly welcome to move at any time. All right. Slip pocket, flap. We're gonna start at this top edge. Normally you would have a vinyl, nope, a stabilizer that you would be sewing around. That would help. I just didn't feel like I needed it for the vinyl. So I'm going to snip in that corner. And we'll trim the excess. And this is when I'm also going to cut this to be the same size. And then you can use pinking shears, but if you don't have them, you can just cut with a regular pair of scissors, just nice and close around that curve. Okay. I'll press this. And just be very careful with this part. And then roll that seam between your fingers. Make sure it all sits nicely. Just never once been given any attention, huh? Never in your life. So we're gonna top stitch this and then we'll figure out where it makes the most sense for our magnetic snap to go. And if you're someone who has trouble kind of figuring that out or remembering, once you know, you can make a mark on your pattern piece. But I think the main reason she doesn't have it is so you can make changes depending on your fabric. There you go. There you go. So we're going to top stitch just along that flap edge. I'm going to fold it in half so we have a good representation of the center. Dang. Okay, so I won't be able to have much of a gap in between my layers because it's like literally right on the edge. I think it's okay. Honestly, too, it doesn't even have to have a magnetic snap if we're being honest. Like, it's not that easy to get into anyway. So I think I'll just add my snap to the center as absolutely close as I can. It would have been better if I had the 14mm and placed it half an inch from the top edge. That would have been great. But we're here. This is what we're doing. And it will be fine. Yeah, it's gonna work. It'll be fine. Ben, do you need something? It just kind of seems like you do. Okay, so I've got that right on the edge. Snap that into place. We're not that far off, truly. Like, it's not bad. Center that out, and then we're gonna baste around the opposite directions as we've already done. And like, honestly, looking at this bag, I've been seeing it online for months. I thought it would have been more complicated than that. First. I'm so excited. Oh, did I scare you? Okay. For the side zippers, place the main lining and B pieces right side together. The main and lining. I thought it said the main lining. Okay, right sides together. Okay, and then we're going to sew as close to the deck of the light as possible. For the zippered box. If you need to mark it out, you absolutely can. I'm just gonna do 2 parallel lines. And then we're going to cut it apart and turn so that right sides are out and wrong sides are together. And I believe these zippers go to the same compartment on the inside of the bag. So we're going to cut through both the exterior and the lining, but not your fingers. You want to leave a pretty long V when you're snipping. And that'll help it to not poke out. And then cut as close to your stitches as you possibly can. So we're cutting up the center, cutting to the stitching, stopping about 3/4 before you get to your thread, and snip to the corner. Do not snip past the corner. And then we'll definitely want to use our seam roller for this. And then we're gonna need 2 9-inch zippers, and we're gonna sew those on. Cool. Oh my God, that's funny. I was like, you're gonna sew it there? No. So being able to iron this would be beneficial, but is not the end of the world. We're just gonna clip as we can, and then seam roll the heck out of it. And like if you sewed through that Decaville light at all, it's gonna make your seam kind of bunch out. So we don't want that. I mean, it kind of gives like a faux piping feel, but eh. All right, and then pull up on your little triangles if you need to. Okay, so I would say this is pretty tricky with waterproof canvas and vinyl, but I'm just making sure to watch it from the front and really roll that seam under so that I'm not seeing much, if any, of that waterproof canvas. I feel pretty good about that. All right, something that might help, it's not a very big seam, is to like seam roll some of your seams ahead of time, but I don't know that it really will. So I'm gonna try this time, instead of getting everything pushed out at once, I'm gonna focus on one side at a time. And seam roll as I go instead of trying to fight everything. So I got one side done. Pulling the rest out. All right, that was much easier. that time. Still see a peak of that pink, but I don't think it's the end of the world. So I'll go ahead and prep 2 9-inch zippers. So now we're gonna add our zipper to the seam, and you want the zipper to zip up, and up is the narrow portion. Oof. This is one of those, like, as close as I am to losing my ish situations for the zipper tape showing. So, like, I have no room for error. I guess I didn't cut my Decaville light precise enough, maybe. And then as I'm doing this, I'm still gonna try to pull my lining out of the way. All right, next time I know, I'm gonna start up at the top on one side with my zipper pull out of the way, because like right now, yes, perfect, my zipper pull is out of the way, but I gotta bring it in to sew it. The rest of it, versus if I could have just left it out of the way for longer. Yeah. Okay. And I'm also going to use a lighter, the top edge, the bottom edge, because it seems like those zippers are pretty much just raw inside the bag. Oh, okay, so she catches the edge of it when she binds, but I don't know that I love that. You probably could add like a little piece of binding to your zipper as well if you wanted, but it doesn't look awful, and it zips and it unzips, so did it. All right, so the thinner part is the top. I'm gonna have my zipper pull way off to the top. I'm gonna line up my zipper tape here. I'm gonna start at the top right hand corner. I need to pull on my triangles a little bit. I can see it kind of poking out. If you want to, you can tape your zipper in place. I don't want to. I think it's fine. And sliding your clips kind of out of the way of the zipper tape will help. It really doesn't matter what color tape you chose, because you're not going to see it. At least for how close my zipper tape is to the zipper opening, which isn't a bad thing. It's just a more skilled procedure. So I'm pulling on my waterproof canvas that's underneath and pushing my vinyl over. All right, and now make sure you bring your zipper pull in. Swear to God, I almost didn't. And be mindful of what size zipper you're using as well. You may need to leave a larger opening to do that. Okay. So not my best work, but it's not terrible. So now we're going to add our bubble, and it's going to be curved side to straight side. So I'm going to start at the top here. And this seam is finished with binding. And this is going to get sewn together at a 3/8 inch seam allowance. And just clip it slow. Make sure you get everything clipped in place first. And then if you need to make any adjustments, you can. And this is going to be a 3/8 inch seam allowance, and then we'll trim it to a 1/4 and use our binding. So I'm going to start at an angle like this, holding everything together as best as I can before I start sewing, and then just work our way down. If you need to, you could even start with a smaller seam allowance, baste everything together, and then work your way. So as I get close to the bottom here, I'm helping the bag keep that curve by pulling up the back. And I caught my zipper tape at the bottom there, so that's cool. And then you can check it from this side. Oh, that's so good. And then I'm going to trim that down a little bit. Okay. So I have 1 inch and 1.75 inch binding. What I'm gonna do for this portion is I'm gonna use the 1 inch. Just gonna measure a piece. Ooh, okay. That's the same length. I know I'm gonna need 2 of those, so I'm just gonna do that now. And I'm gonna put this, instead of wrapping around like I generally do with binding, since this is a smaller seam, is we're gonna sew another line of stitching, and this is gonna be right sides together. Next time, I might try to do this all at once with a gusset. Oh, okay. I know what I'm gonna do. All right, so this is a 1/4 inch. So now we're gonna fold this around the seam. So we have one finished edge and technically one raw edge. Oh crap, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? That's not right. There's no lining there. Shoot. Missed that step, didn't I? Yeah, wrong sides together. I missed that part. That's okay. I can do it now. It's not too late. It's a little too late, but it's fine. It literally wouldn't have been the end of the world. But that's pretty freaking hilarious. What a mess. What a mess. All right, baste across the top and the bottom, and then I should be able to catch it when I bind it. Have you guys ever watched How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days? And you know, she's like, I'm gonna write a how-to article in reverse. And then the editor goes, what not to do? That's essentially what I'm doing right now. Like, hey, what not to do? Perfect. No, you'll never even know that it happened. So right through it. But yeah, I'm really glad I didn't add a Decaville light to the front panel at all, or any of the pocket pieces. Like, it just, for the materials I picked, it would have been way too much. And I did catch my zipper tape on the side here, so that's good. Okay. So then I'll top stitch that on. I'm not gonna do like in the ditch or anything. I'm gonna just like 1/8 of an inch from that edge. I'm gonna do it like that. An 1/8 from the finished edge, close to the seam. Dang it. It shifted a little bit. I'm so used to taping my binding. But at least I caught the waterproof canvas. All right, I didn't catch it again, so it just is what it is. Yeah, that's nice. So here's what that looks like. Here's our finished edge, and there's that raw edge, but that raw edge is not going to matter. So when you flip this through this way, like, you really don't see it. Okay, I have to catch this binding. Have to. Otherwise, everything moves and it doesn't look good. So I'm going to use my screwdriver to help me hold that in place. All right. Much better. So there is what that looks like in the end. And then we get to do it again. Yay. All right. Really quick, I'm gonna baste these together. Okay, let me just think this out. This is gonna go on this side, and our binding is being sewn on this side. And then we wrap it around. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna baste my binding into place 1/8 of an inch along this edge. There is no right or wrong side to this binding, and it does not fray. And it's super thin. Okay. All right. So we've got that attached. All of that was within 1/8 to 1/4 inch seam allowance. And now we can put right sides together, starting at the top. I'm angling this to match the angle of that panel, and then pinching again to match the angle of that curve. I'm lining it up with my exterior fabric so that I know I've got that going in the right place. And then as I'm getting to the deepest part of that curve, I'm going to fold it again to line up my outer edge of the side panel with the main panel. And then I kind of pinch to find that curve from there. So if you need to staple, you can staple a little tiny bit, but not a ton. And there's that. And then this time it's a little tricky, but we got to start down here. So I'm kind of smashing all that together to match the curve. Pressing all that together. That is tricky. There you go. If you need to, use your screwdriver. Then you don't hurt your nails. You're able to kind of push your fabrics where they need to go. It's like a stiletto, but not, because you're not going to stab through anything. All right, and then this is a 3/8 inch seam allowance, or as close to as you can. It's just gonna have to do. And then I want to make sure that my edges are staying lined up. Match that curve, but you also have to make sure that your binding doesn't kind of fold in a weird way. Okay, we're getting towards the top, which is easy. And again, we'll just kind of finish that up to match the curve. Trim my excess down. I'm not trimming any of the excess binding, just any excess fabric. So let's see from the front if we caught everything, if it's sitting nice. That deck of the light should help kind of pop it out, and it looks good. So now we can flip it back around. Our binding has already been attached, so we're saving some time from having to sew that on, and we'll just wrap around. And I guess this time I'll sew it from the other side, I don't know. No, we should be good. We should be good. In the pattern, she states she does have another way of doing this if you're not a huge fan of the binding method for this, or if you have a domestic. Stayed for the most part, but it moved in some. So I guess this direction would be easier for sewing that back on. I don't know. It's near the top, I don't care. All right. I think now is a good place for a little breather. It's a fun, effective shape, but I'm not a huge fan so far of the way the zippers are. But that's a me issue because from the outside it looks hella cute. We're gonna baste these right sides together. We're not adding any kind of pocket to this portion. I don't think it would really be stable enough to hold it. All right, and then this is going to get basted to this panel. Oh, I did snip the top center, perfect. And this is gonna be right sides together. Yeah. No, I didn't. Okay. You could add a woven label or tag to this side. This is going to be the main compartment of your bag. And this is going to take a little finessing because you want to make sure that you get everything placed just right so that the bag does bubble. Okay, and then we'll baste around that. Okay, those side panels with the binding are definitely bulky, especially with all the vinyl I've used. Whew. Okay. A little bit of an issue in this corner. Things kind of shifted, but I can get it back. And down in here, things kind of shifted. But I'm just gonna sew it from this direction this time, and that should be okay. I do have a little bit that I'm trimming off at the top corner, but I don't think that's an issue. Okay. Dang, I have a little pucker up here, but I don't think it's the end of the world. But it's so cute. Oh, God. Working on the pockets, we're sewing across the top edge 3/8 of an inch. The top edge is wider. And then we're going to fold that down and top stitch. There is only one size included in the pattern, but can you imagine this smaller? It'd be adorable. I haven't even made it fully and I'm like, smaller. I don't want to make it smaller. I don't want to, but it would be super cute. Okay. And then these are going to get sewn onto side panels. We'll line up the bottom. Oh my gosh, these colors together are so good. I was totally not sure. Okay, and then I like to just sew across the bottom first, and then I'm going to sew up the top, up to the top. Repeat on that next one. And then I just feel like it makes it easier because now I just have to worry about this side for the remainder instead of like perfecting the others. What the hell happened? Okay, I think it just slipped a little. I don't understand what happened. Okay, that one looks good. This is all user error, by the way. Like my issues right now. This is user error. It's honestly probably the result of poor cutting. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna figure it out. I won't get to finish this today, maybe later. Okay. Got my side pockets figured out. Things were just sewn a little wrong. I'm gonna set that aside for now. Our bottom panel will get attached to that, but I'm gonna do my lining really quick. That's right, my bobbin ran out, and I knew that. And I kept going anyway. I did make 3 bobbins for this bag. So one side panel to the bottom, this is the other side panel to the other side of the bottom. And then top stitch on the bottom. Okay, so there's the bottom done. The pocket opening should be at the top. And then this is going to be a 3/8 inch seam allowance. And then we're going to open that and press our seam toward the bottom and top stitch through that. All right, bottom of our gusset is completed. Oh my God, I can't. Oh yeah, mark out our centers. I'm gonna clip the top edge of this together. All right, so I think next we're going to be working on our top gusset, getting our handle ready. All of this is going to go on the back of the bag, and then we just have our zipper pocket and then like putting it all together. So we're going to make our handle, and it's going to be 3/4 inch wide in the end. It's going to be kind of thick, but it'll be okay. It'll be nice to have something pretty sturdy, I guess. I was just thinking it might be nice to do like a tri-fold for something like this because you're not going to see much of the handle, but that's okay. Right. It doesn't give me a seam allowance to top stitch at, so I'm gonna guess 1/8 of an inch. But 1/4 of an inch would have also possibly made sense because of then top stitching this onto the bag. I'm excited. Okay. And then while I'm here, I'm also going to prep my 3/4 inch wide connector. And this is for all the D-rings on the back of the bag. So I'm gonna set this aside for now. We're gonna grab double-sided tape and tape where our zipper is gonna go. I think I want it to, yeah, I want it to be that way with Minnie Mouse right side up. I'm using 1/8 inch wide double-sided tape. You can tape both the exterior and the lining if you'd like. And I do like, just, sometimes I don't, but it's just because I'm feeling lazy in that moment. Like I've come this far, I've already had some issues with this bag, all completely my fault. And so, I just don't want any issues. This is my front. Our zipper has 2 pulls, so it doesn't matter what direction you start with. We're going to place that face down and then lining. Face down. All right, and then this is supposed to be 1/4 inch, but I'm gonna go right in the middle of 1/4 and 3/8. Just because I feel more secure with that. And then I'm gonna fold that over on itself and top stitch through exterior and lining. And that Decaville light in that seam just helps everything just sit so nicely. And then we'll repeat that. I'm having my mom and my grandma over for dinner. I'm gonna be like, I didn't get to finish what I needed to do. Can you hang out with Dorothy while I go do that? Thanks, bye. Because in my head, I'm like, there's 15 minutes left of this bag, but no, there's more than that. Okay, the right sides together. It's actually really a nice wide bag too. Okay. So we're going to fold the lining out of the way, and I'm going to clip it up this way. And then we're going to grab our handle. This is face up. Well, it's cute, but yeah, this looks better. And I'm gonna add a little piece, couple pieces. Oh, what? Double-sided tape to the end. And then we're gonna measure 1 inch and 5 1/4 inch. Nice. And we're gonna grab our D-rings. There's only 2 D-rings for this section. No idea why I don't have audio on this clip, but we're gonna go with it. You wanna make sure that your lining is moved out of the way on the back of the zipper panel. Clean up your area. I don't know. Why are you doing this right now? Well, it's good. And then I believe you're going to measure 3/8 of an inch up from the zipper tape. Either 3/8 or 3/4. Well, that looks like 3/8. And you're gonna line that up with the side edge of the gusset and make sure you press that down. I'm gonna peel the tape off of the other side, and then this is where it's gonna kind of buckle up to create that 3D effect handle that is so nice. I literally just looked over at this bag and I was like, oh, it's good. Making sure those are pressed into place. Something I did not do, but I should have done, was make sure that I didn't tape all the way to the end so that I have room to slide that D-ring on without getting tape on it. I just don't like getting tape on my hardware. I find that it doesn't move as easily. But yeah, you just kind of press that up. And I think it's about a 3/4 inch to a 1 inch up. And you just sew a little box to make sure. Oh, okay, never mind. She just has you do one little line because you're gonna catch it in the seam anyway. Noted. I really wonder why the mic wasn't working, because the next clip it is. I probably just didn't turn something on, or it died. Maybe it died and I forgot. Who knows, y'all? All right, and then you start from above that D-ring, and this is where I like to just stitch on those stitch lines as best as I can. And you're gonna come up to the mark you made on that handle, pivot across, and then back down. I was trying to find the line. Making this bag was a ton of fun. I do want to make another one, but I would omit the side zippers and try to come up with a way to make it that you can get to that compartment without the side zippers. With vinyl fabric, those side zippers, like, they're just too stiff to get into, so it's not comfortable. If you have sensory issues at all, you're not going to want your hand dragging across the zipper. With a cotton fabric, though, I could see it being a lot easier to get in and out of. And so here we're just repeating those steps. Sewing above the D-ring, up and over, creating a box. If you wanted to add even more structure, you can add a bunch of rivets. I think maybe I did add rivets. Love rivets. And then I backstitched. I didn't pull my threads. Look at that cute little handle. So cute. Oh, okay, I did rivet. So I just marked out rivet placement above the D-ring and right where your handle attaches. And then you set them. Set it and forget it. So we've got the handle attached, added 4 rivets total. Now we can add the rest of our gusset. Make sure your D-rings are up and away from that seam. And then we're gonna sandwich. I'm really tempted to use some of Shannon from Knotted Threads Co. Techniques for bulk, but I kind of feel like I'm already in it, so it'll be fine. And I've got exteriors right sides together and lining right sides together. Okay. And then layer linings flat together. Sometimes to help me, I'll clip higher up, make sure your D-ring's out of the way. And then I'm just going to top stitch through the exterior fabric. I have my lining out of the way. Okay. The other day, I can't remember what I was making, but I put my gusset on wrong, and I was like, are you kidding me? I had like totally had it flipped. I didn't even know what I was doing. Okay. I'm lining up the centers on the bottom. And then we're gonna go all the way around. This is gonna be a little tricky because of the pockets, but just make sure, if you can, that your centers stay lined up. And then I go all the way around and trim any excess. Got something shifting a little bit. So I'm going to clip to figure out what it is. Seems like maybe something shifted. It seems like something down here shifted on me. And my centers are a little bit off. Oh yeah, I see. Okay, so this is off by a little bit. So when I stitched it together, things just weren't quite lined up. Well, darn. But I can fix it. So I'm just doing a little bit of seam ripping with my sharpest pair of scissors. So not a great plan. I don't think I need to do everything. You also want to be very careful, depending on your materials. This seam ripping, pulling, etc. can stretch your materials, so when you try to put it back together, it's actually not the same anymore. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what happened. Okay. We'll clip that back to center. And this is actually the perfect example of why I don't sew through my lining when I'm top stitching that. It's because then I'm able to kind of fold things so they sit a little bit differently if I need to. And it's a harder thing to fix if you've already top stitched through that lining seam. So it's probably just a problem that I create, but at least I've given myself a fix too. Okay, seems to sit better. My top gusset was totally fine. There was just a pucker here, so I knew something shifted. everything is much, much happier now. All right, we're here. Now comes the hard part. I'll start with the bubble front because we still need to add our D-rings to the back. This thinner part is the front, so don't mess that up. I'm really interested how binding this is gonna go because it's very thick. So I'm gonna start by clipping that. And I think once I get everything kind of clipped, I'm gonna baste as well, like just do a couple little stay stitches around, but it's so adorable that I'm like, can't even. That clip is going to break. So I'm just pressing all these layers together. Okay, I'm not sure what the best way to sew this would be. I'm gonna try and do it in the round. So with this flat, just, oh, okay, yeah, that's, happens to us all. And I'm pretty sure this is still that 3/8 inch stitching. So I'm just gonna go nice and slow. Here we go, over some bulk. The best part is we get to bind this too. So I'm holding the bag up at an angle to help direct the layers from shifting. I have my screwdriver in my hand to help me guide the layers. I'm pressing on the lining the top panel so that I can press it in to see that my exterior fabric is still lined up properly. Especially at the top of that curve. Okay, it really wasn't too bad. I think I have more of the pink. I'm like, do I want to do the wraparound binding? Or just the one layer? Dang it. Let me see if I have more. Okay, I don't have more of the light pink, but I do have flowers, so I'm gonna use that. I just don't have the mental energy for the binding. I have to wrap around twice. What I could probably do is, I don't know, maybe tape it. It's not what I'm used to. I designed this to be for the people who like the double fold, etc. With the waterproof canvas method in Knotted Threads patterns, and there's nothing wrong with it. Both ways work. So I like to use the 3/4 inch wide double-sided tape on my binding. And then I'm just going to fold it over the end. And then anything hanging off the edge, trim away. So I'm pulling and pressing. There really isn't like stretch to the binding, but I just want to make sure it's nice and tight. And then we'll follow that 3/8 inch line again. Like, I'll be done, you know, versus the other method where I gotta sew around again. Can't do it. I didn't get too far. Did I? No. So I made 3 bobbins. So keep that in mind. I love that I'm making this bag for myself, but like I don't need another frickin' bag. Like what? Who do I think I am that I need this many bags? But I don't care. I just wanted to make it. All right. Back to where I started. I feel like we've made enough zipper pockets on this channel. We didn't need to see it again. But I'm adding the lining to my zipper pocket. I'm then adding the overlay to my lining. This is not part of the pattern, but I wanted a zipper pocket inside. So I'm just cutting away the excess fabric behind, laying my lining fabric in place and stitching around the inside. And then we're not turning the bag through that zipper pocket, so we don't need to leave it open. I lined up my lining back and my exterior back and basted them together, and then I created 2 straps. Back panel. I've cut my D-ring tabs down. I was like, where are the D-rings? So all that's left is the strap hardware and these D-rings. So we'll slide these through. And I would recommend before sewing these down to make sure like whatever hardware you're using kind of works all together. Like I know that my snap hooks will fit through one D-ring, but I'm like, will both snap hooks fit in one D-ring, you know? You could also do like a big square ring here and just slide one strap through so that you'd have one strap for everything instead of a bunch of snap hooks, especially if you're using like heavier hardware. Okay, so they will fit. So now I'm just gonna baste those down. Oh, I did add a zipper pocket. I think I'll be including a time lapse. My camera had died. Look at that cute label. This is from Sarah Hart's. Yes. Woven labels. All right. So top, top, top. Oh, goodness. It wasn't broken until I ran over it. Rest in peace, clip. Ooh, that was a bad break. I don't know where the other piece is. There it is. It's like, I don't want that going in my foot. Dear hands, please work. Thank you. I love the way everything fits together. Okay, and be done. Screwdriver in hand, and we're just going to make our way around. And with all of this, you really want to make sure that your layers don't shift. Even if you have to like stick your hand inside the bag. sometimes it's easier to do like 1/4 of an inch all the way around. And then add your binding at 3/8, but that is kind of a risky move if you're not sure about your binding skills. So yeah, if I made this again, I would use a mid-weight vinyl for a lot of it, or accessory weight, or I would use a cotton print or, you know, waterproof canvas, something like that, so that there was less bulk. But I think overall I did okay. We have one more binding and then just the straps. And then I'm going to trim just any of those little excess bits. If you have gotten this far in the video, I would love for you to leave a comment. What about? I don't know. Your favorite toy as a kid. I love it because I'll forget I asked that, but I'll see a bunch of weird comments. I'll be like, what did I even ask? Oh, excuse you. So it's joy for me later. Okay. Now we want to get as close to the 3/8 as we can. sometimes when I'm adding binding, I'll hold the clip open and press it up against the seam as well. And that kind of helps keep the binding in place. Okay. Part of me is like, I just want to make the straps. I'm gonna make the straps before I turn the bag. All right, I've taken my lighter to the ends of my webbing. So with my crossbody slider wrong side up, I'm sliding this through, folding it under one. I'm just doing one parallel line, or not one, just one line. It's not two. Oh, these seem short, but they're not. It's okay. Slide that over. And then this I'll do more of a box stitch on. All right, so I've got my slider wrong side up, or I should say it's the wrong side. My slider's right side up, but I like to cross over where I've joined the fabric. So I'm covering that with the slide. And then I'll add my snap hook on the other end. And voila, he is ready to be sewn together. Oh, okay, one done. I feel like making your straps before you turn the bag is the epitome of have tos before the want tos. And my mom and I have had several conversations where I'm like, I hated when you said that when I was a kid. And she's like, well, it's what my father would tell me. Gotta do the have tos before the want tos. But I guess it stuck. So good job, Mom. Parenting win, huh? All right. Ooh, what was my favorite toy as a kid? Guess I should answer my own question, huh? I don't know. I think, so we had these little ovens. They were like the Easy Bake Oven, but they were to make gummy things, and we had the boy version and the girl version. I think that was my favorite thing that my parents would do, is like they wouldn't pick an option for us. They'd just buy both, necessarily not for everything obviously, but I'm sure they were at a yard sale. And yeah, you could make gummy bugs. You didn't eat the gummies, they were just like gummy toys. I don't know, but we had butterflies and insects. Okay. And moon shoes. You can't go wrong with some moon shoes. It's a lot of bag. So for the majority of that, I'm not necessarily using my hands. I'm using my arms to punch the bag. Yeah, this, okay. And you really want to press up against the seam with the binding and make sure everything looks good. And then this bag, like, it's interesting because I can't access this portion except through here. So I gotta reach my hands in there, kind of straighten that out as well. And like, truly, if you don't shape your bag before you take pictures, it just looks worse than it is sometimes. I'm dying. It's so cute. Perfect timing. So yeah, that little piece tucked in is so cute. I love this slip pocket here. Holds my phone nicely and I can still get stuff there. A phone fits there too, but like, it's just nice to have all these options. This pocket really is easy to get in and out of, and you could fit more than you think because it extends up into here. So that's really fun. I love it so much. Like, it's such a satisfying thing to hold. All right, I'll go ahead and put my straps on and end the video. I had a really fun time making this. I hope the video tutorial was enjoyable for you to watch. Maybe a little bit, maybe not. And I highly suggest checking out Sarah's patterns. They are beautifully written. So cool seeing them put together. And I will see you all later. Bye. Love it. What am I doing? Stop. Oh my God. Why are you like that?